Carnage has the most confusing schedule. What is it? Because this guy is live all the time, but also never. He's always seems to be live for like 3-4 hours, and then he goes off for a few hours, then he comes back for a few hours. He streams like multiple times a day in short bursts. I always wanted to try one of those sleep schedules where you sleep multiple times a day. I always said if I got a flexible job, I'd do it, but then I said fuck it in the end. But I know some streamers have done that. You can... It's shit? Is it really? What is it called? Everyman sleep schedule? Or something? Polyphasic sleep. The idea is, if you've never heard of this, the idea is that you sleep for less. You sleep a shorter amounts of time per day. So you're like wasting less time sleeping. But the trade-off is that you gotta do this weird-ass schedule, sleep multiple times a day. Very little science to back it up.
Conventional wisdom says we're supposed to get 8 hours of sleep a night. Fewer of us actually do, with the CDC reporting that a third of American adults snooze for less than 7.
Didn't like most of our ancestors sleep twice a day? Once like siesta, basically. And then a lot of times up at night, maybe?
The current consensus from sleep researchers is that we need to sleep for long enough, continuously enough, and deeply enough to receive the proper benefits of sleep. And there's a long list of benefits, like top cognitive performance, proper storage of memories, or avoiding health problems like high blood pressure and obesity.
How many hours did you guys sleep this night?
Sleep. But some people try to break their sleep into chunks instead of getting a single or monophasic stretch of Z's. Despite these trends, there's not much scientific evidence to suggest polyphasic sleep is better than monophasic. And some polyphasic sleep patterns are distinctly worse. We don't fully understand how sleep works. The leading model for why and when you sleep is called the two-process model. It states that there are two processes going on in your brain that dictate how sleepy you are at any given time. I
had a schedule for a while where I would sleep like 5 hours or maybe 6 at night, and then like another 1, maybe 2 in the afternoon.
Process C is a product of your circadian rhythm, or the attunement of your brain to the cycle of day and night. Your biological clock is run out of your brain's anterior hypothalamus. It ticks along in response to light, and it makes you sleepier at night. The other, called Process S, is homeostatic, which is to say it reflects the need for your body to maintain a steady state in all things. We don't know exactly what regulates Process S. But
I forgot, I got one of those copyright music has been detected, so we're turning off your default publishing of VODs. Yep, I'm sorry. Switch it back now. This VOD will not be available until I go offline.
Have to do with the buildup and clearing out of chemicals like adenosine in your brain. The longer you're awake, the more sleepy Process S makes you. And the longer you're asleep, the more likely it is to wake you up. While scientists are still revising the two-process model, those basic parts do seem to explain why we sleep for a long time at night. Process S and Process C can change as you get older, and they operate independently from one another. So
I heard randomly somewhere that after you turn 20, every year after 20, you need on average 1 minute less of sleep. So by the time you're 60, you need 40 minutes less sleep than when you were 20. I don't know if that's true. But old people sleep for shorter times, right?
It's possible to separate your sleeping patterns from the pattern of sunrise and sunset. And scientists use this fact to study sleep by placing subjects on an altered schedule. In one oft-cited 1992 study published in the Journal of Sleep Research, 7 participants were placed on a schedule with 10 hours of light and 14 hours of darkness. Over the course of several weeks, they eventually took to sleeping in 2 blocks during the dark period, with a few hours awake in between. This, combined with historical knowledge, is sometimes used to suggest that humans naturally adopted a biphasic sleeping pattern in the days before we had electric lights to keep us up.
See, that's what I said.
The idea of breaking up sleep into a polyphasic pattern, though, has been taken to some extremes. The scientist Buckminster Fuller somewhat infamously subscribed to the Dymaxion sleep schedule, which involves 4 30-minute naps evenly spaced throughout a 24-hour period. Some swear by similarly draconian napping schedules, like the Uberman, totaling only a couple hours of sleep per day, while others recommend longer core rests at night. Napping in the afternoon or taking a siesta is technically a polyphasic sleep schedule and is followed by many parts of the world. Breaking up your rests could work by affecting Process S, basically resetting the make you sleepier ticker more.
We usually go to bed like somewhere after 2. Yesterday, I think right at 2. Woke up at 10. So like 2 to 10.
More often. However, polyphasic sleep isn't well studied. When it is, it's in the context of shift work, like people providing essential services.
I have said before, my fair schedule, 1 a.m., get up at like 9-ish. But I usually don't adhere to it because I'm by discipline, I guess.
hospitals and fire stations. A 2014 study in the journal Chronobiology International argued that 12-hour shifts probably aren't great for productivity. After 12 hours of work, people may suffer from decreased alertness, especially at night when their circadian rhythm is making them naturally
brain damage?
sleepy.
Yo, someone whacked that guy in the head.
Researchers proposed shorter schedules, like 6 hours on,
1 a.m.,
6 hours
7 a.m.
off,
waking up.
4 hours on, and 8.
I could function like a week on six hours of sleep, but I'll notice at the end of the week that I'm like exhausted. I know people say you can't make up sleep or whatever, or there's no such thing as sleep debt. From my experience, that's bullshit, because for sure, I've lived my life often sleeping 5-6 hours a night, and then it's the weekend and I sleep for 10. Rinse, repeat.
8 hours off. In the experiments they ran, 29 participants were put on a 28-hour schedule with at least 9 hours of time in bed. Half were on a conventional light-dark schedule, and half were broken up with periods of 4.6 hours of rest and 9.3 hours awake. The two groups didn't differ in their performance on a test that measured their alertness and reaction times, even though participants on the split schedule sometimes reported feeling less alert. And this led the authors to suggest that shorter work shifts with shorter rest periods could help shift workers. However, it's important to note the participants still got in a...
This video is like a word overload. I want little cute drawings to look at instead.
Solid 1/3 of their day is
I want to
rest.
bring this guy a razor blade.
You enter the realm of sleep deprivation, which comes
oh,
with
that
a
sounded
long
dark. Just for the whatever this is.
List of symptoms like anxiety, irritability, poor reaction times, and longer-term health risks like high blood pressure and diabetes. Some early sleep research failed to show any ill effects when participants slept for only 4 or 5 hours a day. But now, researchers think those experiments were poorly controlled, and more recent studies show drop-offs in cognitive function when less than 7 hours are spent in bed. Even worse,
if you answer less than 7 before, that means you're already collected some brain damage for the day.
You may not know how exhausted you are. Some studies, including one from the journal Sleep in 2003, have found a disconnect between self-reported sleepiness and objective sleepiness as measured by electrical activity in the brain with EEG. Sleep-deprived people tended to think they were way better off than their scores on cognitive tests actually indicated. And while it may be okay to break up your sleep a little, researchers have also studied sleep fragmentation when you wake up too many times during your rest period. For instance, many researchers think that uninterrupted sleep is necessary to store memories properly. A study published in 2012 in the journal PLOS One found that subjects whose sleep was interrupted during a monophasic rest pattern had an impaired ability to form memories. So while we don't understand everything yet, it's clear that we need sleep to be our best selves, and our brains definitely need more than 2 hours. You can try to reprogram it if you want to, but it's at your own risk. Thanks for watching this episode of SciShow.
Doesn't sound worth it then.
Some groundbreaking discoveries.
I remember reading about like polyphasic sleep fucking 10 years ago or something. I thought it sounded awesome. Because sleep is a goddamn time thief, though. Let's be honest. We sacrifice so many years of our life just lying there doing fuck all. Imagine if you could claim some of those hours, dude. If you guys only needed half as much sleep as you currently take, what would you do with the extra time? We wouldn't convert it into anything useful, would we? Everyone's just answering fapping. Sleep, okay. There's a best of internet daily notes. There's the new unusual memes. This thing looks insane.